Monica from Looking for Group. I'm here today with Gerry Arias from Sussex County Community College. He is the esports coach there, and he's going to be telling us a little bit more about his program. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Of course, of course. So I guess I'm just going to jump right into the meat of things. Can you
Okay,
tell
sure.
me a little bit about how the program got started?
Well, as Corey Homer, I would say, who's now the associate vice president of student success and institutional effectiveness. He's got a big title, but he also has a big heart for and passion for esports, and he initiated the program. And I came on board early January, pre-COVID, and then circa March 13th. So I basically got to meet my team for about 3 months, and then had to navigate that issue. And initially, it began with two coaches who are no longer the coach, and I'm now the head coach, and I'm also the now the club or the game advisor.
Awesome, awesome. So, did students come together and mobilize about this experience, or did the administration take hold of it first? So, how did the program form?
In
Was
other
it
words, was it like an organic experience, or
organic?
I,
Yeah.
I think that I think it was a little bit of both. That's my understanding of it. Again, the context is that we are in a rural area, in a rural school district, in a rural school, and so this is quite forward thinking for up here, and quite a new thing, and we're hoping to have a significant growth spurt that matches the hype of the esports. And from what I've seen also as a high school coach in the city. So I do both, high school rural. And I tell you that coaching in a community college in a rural area, it was most likely an organic experience, a very natural one. There's a lot of gamers up here,
Hmm.
and we're just trying to build our program at this point. Yeah.
Great. Okay. So, can you tell me a little bit about the competitive side of the program as that's shaping or as it already exists? What kinds of games do you play, and what kinds of leagues do you compete in, if any?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I lost a little bit of my light here, but it's funny you mentioned that. Like, I was specifically hired as the Overwatch CS:GO coach. And so when we came on board, what we had was four esports, right? And they were part of a different organization at the time. And so I don't really know the inner workings of what it was. And it just seemed like when I came on board, that we had this really strong presence in the beginning, a lot of CS:GO players and all that. But when I came on board, and again, mind you, it was just shortly before the COVID thing, um, it kind of got light. And so my go-to squads were basically at the time Overwatch and Rocket League, and we had a very competitive um, League of Legends team that was probably the most competitive at the time. Ironically and strangely, because I don't know who plays. I try to always find players of it, and it seems to be the hardest one for me personally to recruit, but I know that they're out there, and so it's just funny that we had a really solid League of Legends team up here, and that was the first one I had seen, and hopefully we can see. I think some of the interest is changing though this year, and we've added other sports, and including one of the ones I was pushing for, which has a general like interest amongst gamers, which is the Smash scene. And I've had so much fun with that scene and bringing it in as kind of like an intramural idea. But right now that we're part of the NJCAAE, they actually have that as a competitive sport,
Oh,
and
wow.
so we're really looking forward to that.
Awesome. It sounds like you guys have a lot of opportunity and options to compete. And it's
We
funny.
do.
It's funny you say that about the league thing. I find that there's so many League of Legends players over here on the East Coast, and it's just so funny how they're sporadically spread about the nation. I hear some
Yeah,
colleges saying they have like too many League of Legends players. It's just
it
funny how
really
that
goes in
changes.
pockets. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really odd.
Yeah.
It goes in waves, and it's a great esport.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, and my understanding. I mean, I hate to be cliche, but my understanding is it's popular in Europe. And when I say cliche, the whole notion of like soccer is more popular over there and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. But physical soccer. But then we also have Rocket League. We offer that as well. And then now we actually brought in the FIFA and the Madden and all those things, because the whole point was, my goal as somebody who's trying to create a pipeline between, not only rural and urban players, but also give an opportunity for scholarship. And that's the whole impetus for my whole interest in, as an educator in esports, is to try to create pathways for opportunity. And so it's great to be a part of a league now that's at least trying to offer what I'm coining and phrasing as, more games and more ways to play. That's kind of what I'm pitching out there about the NJCAAE, which is what I think is essential right now, especially considering not everybody is a PC gamer,
Right.
and we want to give opportunity to the console players. And so that's why the Generation Esports platform seemed like a good one to go with. And that was one of your interests, is who we're working with. And the Generation Esports folks are an extension of what is the High School Esports League, and another really long, which they call HSEL, another acronym.
Yeah.
But the idea is the bridge, right? So what I see, even though there are other free leagues and other things I involve all my players with, um, what I'm trying to do is make that connection. And so those platforms are, because they're from the same family, I'm hoping that we'll be able to get more high school players interested in coming into the JUCO division as an option, because not everybody can go or wants to go to a 4-year right away.
Right. Right. That makes a lot
You
of
know?
sense. Awesome. So you told me a little bit about being this bridge here of accessibility of consoles and PCs and making everybody come together in one community.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the facilities that your campus may or may not offer for your students? Any equipment? What kind that you have, if you have any?
Well, if anybody's out there, listening and wants to sponsor an upgrade, we do have, right, a facility, right, so to speak, right. So we have a dedicated room, and that was really nice, and that was a big deal, and that came before I joined the team. So I'm walking into something that could be improved upon, you know, and but already exists, which is a wonderful thing, right? Because not everybody has a spot, and so
Right.
what we have there is at least the capacity to do 6v6, and we have some PC towers and some basic gear. My players, we were talking more about, hey, can we get some maybe at least 144 FPS, more like gaming, just to, because of Overwatch and CS:GO and sort of the competitive advantages maybe another school might have with but at the same time, overall, mostly everybody said even what we had was sufficient, and what we liked was the fact that we had a place to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's missing now, of course, and it's also easier to recruit and connect and all those things in the more physical realm, even for gaming. And people
Absolutely.
have to understand that, that's the thing about esports is that it's the another bridge. It's the bridge from the marginalized gamer who might be more solitary in their approach, to a more a more community based and more interactive experience. And then you find out that there are other people like you,
Yeah.
and that's why the SEL component is so integral in that, and wonderful. And what we were doing and what was happening before all this was wonderful. And so I'd like to get back to that, but obviously esports has the advantage of still existing despite what's going on.
Yeah, as a lifelong gamer, it's been nice to watch this come to fruition and see
Mm,
the communities forming in real life, because I'll never forget, meeting some people online and playing games with them and then trying to meet up in real life, like, trying to get this group of
mhm,
people together from all over the nation. And it was just so much more challenging back then to make those
mhm.
in real life connections. And I feel like we're back to that after this pandemic. So it's trying
We're
to,
back to that, so we
yeah,
have prior knowledge, which is good,
yeah,
so we can fall back on our prior knowledge and fall back on the things that we have and the Discord that we're on and all those cool things. But what we were achieving or where we were going was really sweet too.
yeah, it
And
was.
and yeah, and we all want to get back to that, I think. And that's
Yeah,
the ultimate goal. And so we want to do it the right way. And I've been a part of a lot of coaches meetings because one of the things about the esports that we're part of the athletic department and in the
okay,
college level, which is nice. It's definitely another level, guys. There's another level to coaching that has very little to do with gaming itself, and it's just I'm really fortunate to be somewhere that's so new and so open, and I feel like we have an opportunity, but at the same time, you know, I think we all have to be guardians of what was
yeah.
great and kind of keep all that, you know.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's a really good point, and I think time in this essence will heal all wounds, right? So just
Yeah,
keep our
I hope
fingers
so.
crossed. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So switching gears a little bit,
Yeah,
I
it was
know.
tough. And then again, like I know we're talking about college, but I also have high school players that
Yeah,
were really grinding hard and just before major like our first like, regional had the whole rugs like just pulled,
mm,
and the LAN that shout out to Helix, gotta give them love. But our LAN in that's situated in North Bergen, which is one of the larger ones in America, which we're really fortunate in that area. Um, they're taking they're hanging in there. Everybody's hanging in there, and everybody has good interests, and they're all really great people. And the things we were talking about is the reason why we're still able to survive. But I think some of the overhype has a negative effect too, in the sense that
yeah,
it's a little tougher to recruit because I know that I just have a sense. I don't know. I could be imagining this, but I know that by nature, gamers aren't trying to be exposed per se. I mean, we have gamer tags, we
yeah,
have subcultures and things, and we have this kind of anti-popular vibe, almost like rockers do, and when something gets popular, like we want nothing to do with it, like
yeah,
when a band becomes too popular, as an analogy.
yeah,
And the gaming industry is modeled after the music industry if you do your research. And so when you look at it from an arts and entertainment, I wonder, if some of the fact that it's harder to fill a spot or two is some of that kind of like, is it still cool to be a gamer?
yeah. Well, I mean, when I was growing up, no. The answer was no. It wasn't cool to be a gamer for me, and now it is suddenly cool. And I usually typically use the term like gaming went mainstream. I see exactly what you're trying to say there. Yeah,
You hear me because I'm an
yeah,
OG, and I say
yeah.
OG as in the sense of like an old gamer. In fact, my hashtag used to be 2DOG, and I say, well, the 2DOG, now that I'm doing my doctorate, I said the 2DOG graduated to the EdTech MD, right? Because that's like
I like
one of
that.
the hashtags I use. And so we all grow and expand, and we all have to be sensitive to the things we love about this, and remember that an OG, when he goes on Discord and gets a hello from a bot and responds to it, that is a funny moment.
Yeah,
That is something that we all should laugh at, but we should appreciate that. I'm coming with the love, and we're here to learn from each other. At the same time, remember the struggles that we had as old gamers, even just trying to be allowed to play the 2600 or Pong or whatever, or to
mm-hmm.
get the quarters or to wait, your turn because the best gamer stacked like 15 quarters in the first stack, and you have to wait till all those quarters are done, and we're all counting them, and we're like, dude, we're never going to get a shot at the game. So all of this stuff is wonderful, and we just have to be protective and listen to the gamers and see what's still cool and what's not.
Yeah,
And Discord in itself, just as the word, it is supposed to represent some kind of free speech, and it's tough to do that when you're playing an organized sport,
Right.
and you have to watch for the toxicity and the stuff that comes out. And we all know some of the negative vibes towards girl gamers, and it's all out there. So yeah,
Yeah, I
we have to
couldn't
be mindful.
couldn't agree more. And I think that's, esports industry is getting some kind of structure now, which is nice, slowly but
Mhm.
surely. But just switching gears and
Slowly.
on a final note here, I just want to know, is there anything that you would like to communicate about the Sussex County Community College program that you feel would be unique from your position as a two-year school specifically?
Yes, in its coach mostly at this point, in that I'm a bridge and I'm connected to a lot of other coaches, and I don't mind, recommending good players to other schools, and understand that I have your interest as an educator at heart first, and you need to be good at school, and you need to have good grades, because this esports thing, is no different in the college level as any other sport. You have to understand that. So there are standards and there's paperwork to fill out, and you can't be sitting on it and waiting to get it done. And I'm not one of those coaches that likes to be mean to players, or any of that kind of jazz, because you know and we've seen those kind of coaches in football and other sports.
Yeah.
There's two models, right? Fear and love. I come with the love, man, and sometimes those guys get squashed in the end. So it's really up to the team. It's up to all of us to step up and keep it, because one of the things I'm learning about a lot, and I feel it needs to be stressed in everything we do as Americans, as gamers and all that, is that you know when something goes good, right? When it goes good, like it's going now, where you have an opportunity, despite there being very little opportunity for some people, you know, and esports does have one here, and we're blessed this year. If you don't care for something, right, no matter what it is, whether it's your education, whether it's your country, whatever it is, if you let something go, it's just gonna disintegrate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so anything that you want has to be cared for, and has to be cared for by the students. Guys like me, we help create the scenario, but it's really up to the student to step up and to make it a successful program for their school and for esports communities, and to be good at school. And a lot of our guys, yeah, they tend to be guys that are into computer science and other
Mm-hmm.
things, but they're not the only ones out there. So even the guys that are coming in, who just happen to be great gamers, understand academics are important, being on time is important, being early is on time. All those habits
Yeah.
are the same, especially when a lot of these 4-year schools are modeling the esports is really kind of part of a business management
Right.
program. And so you're going to be learning that stuff anyway.
Absolutely.
And understand there's a serious game going on here right now, and you could be a part of it. Absolutely, you're needed, but it is a game, and you have to take it seriously.
I think that is a very great piece of advice to leave off with. But I just
Mhm.
wanted to thank you for your time today in this interview. I think this is going to be really helpful for the potential students who are looking at it now.